One of the big problems with living in Dubai is that we're completely surrounded by opulence and luxury. Everywhere you go, it's there. If you go to the malls, there are high-end stores that literally just say, you can't afford me. You're driving in your car. You will pass 7 or 8 Ferraris within 4 or 5 blocks. It's just the way it is, right? I take my kids to school. I have Rolls Royces, Bentleys, Ferraris, you name it. Those are the parents that are dropping off the kids to the school. It's almost as if it really doesn't have the value it should have because so many people have it. There's nothing exclusive about it. Yet we know that it is because there's a lot of people that can't afford it, right? But it literally just shows you how many wealthy people there are living in Dubai. But the reason I bring you this piece today is because China has exposed the world of luxury, and it's literally a major weapon in the trade war against America. So my friends, today we're going to talk about what is luxury and why you should not get caught up in this BS. Invest your money in products that will go up in value, and don't get caught up in trying to impress your neighbors with money that you don't have. All right? But let's look at this trade war and what's going on.
I'm crashing out. China, they on our ass. Let me tell you something. Y'all see all these damn bags that I have? Okay? These are the bags they're talking about. Like, I have a Birkin, a Fendi, a Louis. I've never even used this bag yet. A Chanel, Louis, Fendi, Chanel, Gucci, Louis. And you're telling me what I have spent on all these bags, I could have went to China and got them and not spent all this money? China, I'm coming. But let me just show you all the bags that I actually really have. Look at this. Jack Moose, Louis, Hermes, Louis, Dior, 3 Chanels, Fendi. Why is that? Chanel, Louis, Chanel, Louis, Gucci, Chanel. All of this stuff that I spent my hard-earned money on, all of this, are you freaking telling me that I overpaid for all of this shit? Let me go on Expedia or whatever and find me an airline ticket to China because I'm coming. I'm coming to see y'all. Look for me. And I also want to add that this Louis wallet, it legit say made in France. Made in France. I am now checking all my shit.
And this is what poor people do. They spend money on liabilities. They don't spend money on assets. All of this shit costs pennies to make. All of this so-called shit. And she said the right word. China is now showing how much this stuff costs to make in China and how the luxury industry have been ripping off people when they make stuff in China with amazing craftsmanship and then take it to Italy and then they stamp the Made in Italy sign on it. And all of you idiots think that you're getting this high-end product made with care and timely craftsmanship and the artisans that have carefully hand-stitched these things. It's all BS. It's an illusion that was created for people who have more money than sense. And usually the luxury market is for women. It's women who are investing in all of this stupid spending. And then at the end of their time, when the money isn't coming in, and the men who've been buying this stuff for them aren't buying it for them anymore, they sit there and wonder where the hell all their money went. Let's look at the reason why she's crying.
The Chinese factories are exposing luxury brands.
Made in Italy or made in France. Welcome to the real world. Now you see, those bags are made in China.
China makes 80% of your designer bags.
Is the Chinese supplier behind Under Armour? Shenzhou International.
Nike shoes from China to your country?
Who are the suppliers behind Salomon, Timberland, New Balance, Adidas, Nike, la 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 la? First, Baochong Factory.
It's not just calling them out. They're showing the world exactly where your $1,000 handbag or your $100 leggings are really being made. They're now offering you the same exact stuff, no middleman, no markup. In a bold move that seems more like economic warfare than manufacturing, Chinese workers are lifting the lid on a billion-dollar illusion. the bags, the shoes, the clothing that say made in Italy or designed in Paris, a huge chunk of them are actually being produced in China. And with Trump's new tariffs hammering Chinese exports, the factories are fighting back by selling directly to you online and calling out the whole hypocrisy. And on TikTok, it's gone viral. Factory workers and agents are filming inside production lines, showing piles of Louis Vuitton bags, Gucci purses, Lululemon leggings. Some say we make the same thing the brands sell, but for $20, not $2,000. Videos show labeled items sold from the same factory floor at a tenth of the price.
Lululemon sells this jacket for nearly $100, but here only costs you $6 to $5.
The exact same item, just no label. And these videos, they're getting millions of views. And these aren't fakes. The bags and shoes being sold are real, or at least made in the exact same places with the exact same materials. Because luxury brands like Prada, Armani, and even Louis Vuitton outsource a ton of their manufacturing to China. And now we're learning this for real. They ship the parts to Italy, do the same little thing with the stitching, maybe slap on the label, and boom, made in Italy. It's legal, but it isn't honest. If you're just throwing a label on something and saying made in Italy, but the whole thing was actually made somewhere else, you're lying. One investigation recently found that Chinese-run factories were paying workers $2 an hour to assemble $1,800 Armani handbags. And they still got the made in Italy stamp. It's all smoke and mirrors. These TikTok exposés are cracking the illusion wide open. If your $2,000 purse is made by the same hands as a $50 duplicate, why pay 40 times more? It's not just China breaking the rules, it's the brands gaming the system. And now, the workers who have been hidden behind the curtain, they're stepping into the spotlight and showing the world the truth. And frankly, I'm all for it. Expose these luxury brands that have been ripping us off for too long. The world's factory is speaking, and the message is clear. You've been paying for a label, not the labor. And in this new global economy, the label might not be worth that much anymore.
I mean, let's look at how we define luxury. We admire something and call it luxurious because it's timeless, meaning that the materials it's made out of are of such high quality that it will last forever. Your grandma's hardwood furniture that was made 300 years ago and it's still holding together 100% is worth a lot more than an IKEA piece of furniture that we know that's literally going to disappear in a year to 2 years. But it isn't only that. It has to be exclusive. It has to be limited. And this is what brands do very well. They make sure that they only manufacture a very limited amount of one product to make it seem like it's exclusive. But that allows them to mark the price up because of rarity. And so the next part is branding. How do we brand ourselves so that it sounds rich, it sounds exclusive? Well, that's easy. Just ask ChatGPT. That information is there. Anyone now can literally start a luxury brand because we know what fonts to use. We know how to lay out a design. We know what to say. Anything can be done. I have been really studying what is luxury, and I came across a very long video on it. I can't play the whole thing, but I'm going to play this short piece, and it will highlight how we perceive luxury. It will give you a good idea. Remember that stunt that Payless had pulled off, where they opened a store called Policy? They used the same Payless shoes, but they opened a exclusive brand that was called Policy, which was basically Payless, but the letters jumbled around. But anyway, listen to this one short excerpt from this video. And I'm going to put the link to it so that you guys can go and see it, because it's definitely worth watching to learn how human beings perceive luxury and pretty much how people get ripped off.
We've talked a lot about how time relates to luxury, but we haven't mentioned anything about space. This is where things get weird. In 2018, an exclusive new luxury brand, Policy, appeared on the scene. It had all the hallmarks of high-end luxury. But its impressive use of space was especially notable. They held a huge launch event at a glamorous Los Angeles storefront. Fashion influencers and socialites were invited to experience this new designer brand firsthand. They were impressed by the classy interiors and probably felt really special with media and press swarming the event.
For me to experience this as an Italian designer is amazing.
It looks really well made.
It's like very, European, very, upscale.
But here's the twist. Palessi didn't exist. It was a stunt by Payless, the discount shoe store. Those $600 designer shoes were actually $20 Payless shoes.
What? No way.
You've got to be kidding me. Shut up. Are you serious? No.
The shoes were exactly the same ones showed in their regular stores, but with a new store and a fancy location, people believed they were worth hundreds of dollars more. The Palessi stunt was a bold reminder of how much we buy into myths luxury brands create. Now, it would be easy to just say the influencers were a bunch of idiots and that luxury is all a sham. And honestly, that's true to an extent, at least some of the time, but I don't think it tells the whole story. First of all, I have to wonder whether these fashionista influencers were legit. I mean, I'm no expert, and even I can tell real leather from the synthetic stuff they were slapping on those shoes. But there's a bigger point here. It's not that those influencers were all clueless. It's more about how the space surrounding these objects radically changes their perceived value.
I just want to pause it right here because he talked about, you could see that the shoe quality wasn't leather. Balenciaga. I went into one of their stores here just to experience the whole thing. It's a freaking clown show. It's a bloody clown show. I just took my daughters in to make them experience how you can easily be influenced by stupidity. The amount of plastic and rubber that is in all of their product, it's not functional. So this idea that they can have this sort of material, nothing timeless about it, it's just a joke. But people buy into it. People are in there buying shit. For what? To look like a clown. I mean, some of the stuff in there, all I could do is just laugh. But people's brains become so convinced of being exclusive and different that they will pay for it. Everybody wants to stand out. Everybody wants to appear different, but not tacky different. Because they can pay for it, it makes them look exclusive different, even though the product is crap. And this is how so many people get fooled. This is how and why so many women end up broke. They got a closet full of freaking bags, shoes, but no money in the bank. You make that shit make sense. And this, gentlemen, is what I'm hoping that you could show to your women so that they could understand they're getting fooled.
For the first time in my life, I actually went to several luxury stores while researching this video. And honestly, I wish I'd done it sooner. It was fascinating to see how these brands made use of architectural spaces to create an air of exclusivity. The first thing I noticed was that these stores don't really feel like stores at all. They have way more in common with museums or art galleries where products are the centerpieces. It's hard to convey on YouTube, but stepping into these places is pretty impressive. Interior design can really warp your perception of a space. One employee I spoke with even called the Louis Vuitton flagship store a sacred place. Now, that is definitely taking things a bit too far. Buying a $3,000 purse is not a sacred experience, and anyone who tells you otherwise is nuts. But there are definitely elements of religious iconography in most luxury stores. You see ornate details, displays of opulence and excess, and of course, the products are treated like precious relics. One thing that really struck me was how almost all of the stores had antiques that referenced their cultural heritage, like the original Louis Vuitton trunk from 1875. The way luxury products are displayed in stores bears an unmistakable resemblance to the way old relics are presented in cathedrals. And trust me, that is no accident. The products are placed on pedestals or in these pristine glass displays, and the most important thing was the amount of space between each product. Some of the store displays also had lights behind each object, giving them this soft, refined glow. Just for comparison, I went to Macy's, which is a respectable department store, but the experience was totally different. The way they crowded all the products together in these dusty, scratched up cases just made them feel cheaper somehow, like each item was competing for your attention. The space wasn't designed to highlight individual items, but to showcase as much merchandise as possible. Even the display materials felt cheap and old, and the entire store was bathed in this harsh, greenish fluorescent light. One section of Macy's had a corner with a bunch of $1,000 Montblanc pens. But under the fluorescent light, the low ceilings, and the fingerprint-covered display cases, Everything just felt tacky and plastic. Later, I visited the Mont Blanc flagship store a few blocks down the street. The merchandise was presented way more nicely, and the space genuinely transformed the perceived value of the objects. This stark contrast demonstrated the power of space. That's one of the real reasons why the fashionistas at Palessi's were willing to spend $600 on a pair of $20 shoes. It works both ways, too. You wouldn't spend $30,000 on an Hermes bag if it was in the back of a grimy 7-Eleven. You might think you never fall for something like this, but the numbers tell a different story. Throughout the 1990s, architect Peter Marino did over-the-top redesigns of dozens of luxury stores. Each flagship renovation cost up to $20 million. Despite the steep price tag, these overhauls often resulted in a 20 to 40% increase in sales, allowing brands to recoup their investment in just 2 years. And keep in mind, the store sold the exact same products at the exact same location. It was just the design of the space that changed. Even in a luxury store where everything really feels VIP, there are areas reserved for the real VIPs. Many luxury stores have semi-private alcoves or side rooms designed for a more personal experience. When I visited one store, I saw a couple in one of these rooms sipping champagne and getting the royal treatment. I overheard a sales associate jokingly ask, "Oh, should I call you Baroness or Princess?" as the associate handed her like a $2,000 pair of shoes. The whole scene was just surreal. The customers were surrounded by piles of shoes, bags, and dresses, just sort of lounging luxuriously. And what made it especially interesting was that you could overhear their conversation, but the space was clearly sectioned off. It was visible, but it wasn't accessible.
Ooh, you imagine that. So now that you guys understand how you're being sold, you can sort of see why people are reacting like that first lady who realized that she's been getting ripped off, and the gentleman and this gentleman here.
First of all, after finding out what I just found out about the U.S. and China, you know, I want to say I'm highly ticked off. I'm highly upset. 3 years ago, I paid $450 for these Gucci slides at the Gucci store right here in Houston, Texas. And now China done exposed the fact that these shoes right here only cost 75 cents to produce. You know what? Real Gucci slides. I'm done. Hell, these Gucci slides. Gucci slides.
How can you be so stupid? It's a piece of freaking plastic. I went through this exact same issue with my daughter, who had got a pair of slides as a gift for Christmas from one of her friends. And they were original, what's the slides by Kanye? One of these Kanye slides. And she was like, Daddy, feel how they feel. Feel how they feel. And I'm like, no, they can't fit me. No, try. I'm like, they cannot fit me. My foot's bigger than yours. And my wife, her foot is the same size of my daughter's, my 18-year-old daughter. They got big ass feet, man. And she said, oh, they do feel good. I said, they're a piece of plastic. They put a bunch of plastic beads into a machine and it forms it. That's it.
Slides. Our factory follows a specialized manufacturing process to create our own version of Yeezy slides. While the exact details of Adidas' manufacturing process for Yeezy slides are confidential, we ensure that our slides are crafted with utmost precision and attention to detail. We carefully select premium materials, including high-quality foam or rubber, to guarantee optimal comfort and durability. Our production process involves meticulous steps, such as precision cutting of materials, expert molding of the soles, precise assembly of components, and meticulous finishing touch.
How much you think these things freaking cost? I can't remember the price they told me, but it was ridiculous. I was laughing. I'm like, I'm glad you didn't even think about asking me or your mother to buy these for you. She immediately goes, well, I know that wouldn't happen. I said, you damn right it wouldn't. And you should not even think about doing that as well. So the veil of mystery. Now, I don't understand why it's a mystery. No one gives a shit. Everybody wants to experience. This is what my wife tells me when she wants to go into a luxury store. She never buys it, but she wants to experience it. I want to experience how it feels. And I'm like, okay, fine. And I always say, yeah, sure, fine, great. That's go in and experience how it feels to go in the store. But I don't see the benefit of it. Because if I'm not buying shit, I ain't going in. Why should I even want to go in? You know, I've been in many luxury stores before. Listen, I got caught up with, my brand was Cartier. I got caught up with Cartier watches. I used to love those watches. I felt that, you know, everybody had Rolexes. What's the sense of buying a Rolex? And one of my wealthy friends in the past, he introduced me to Cartier. And I fell in love with their watches. But the point is, as I got older, and I got into professions that were no longer sort of that affluent market. That's when I got into photography full time. I just said, nah, I'd prefer to sell it and buy a really nice camera that was much more useful for me. And that's what I did. So now that we're here and China has now pretty much caused chaos in the luxury market for the entire Western Hemisphere, showing them that, hey, you want to do business with China? Here's another reason you can do it. You should do it because we're the kings of manufacturing. And I am sure that the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, released all of these videos on the world right now because they want to show Chinese dominance with manufacturing. But of course, the West isn't taking this information sitting down. So here's how they're trying to push back and trying to do damage control publicly.
Carolina Marchand-Abu is here in studio. Carolina, tonight, China taking a jab at Donald Trump's trade war. Chinese manufacturers allegedly exposing the truth behind the production of luxury goods. Tell us more about that.
That's right, Sharon. That in response to Trump's tariff hikes, Chinese factories are flooding TikTok with viral content claiming to expose how luxury goods are really made in China. For brands such as Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, Hermes, all the way to Lululemon and Nike, as they say, their same factories produce the same products for a fraction of the cost. This creator, for instance, says this Dior bag that costs $6,000 in boutique only costs him $300 to make. On TikTok, the discussion hashtag China manufacturer is trending with over 11,000 posts where content creators are listing Chinese manufacturers so that consumers can buy directly from their factories. The man driving the debate, this user at Sandbag2, he, with this video that has garnered millions of views on TikTok, this Chinese manufacturer claims that many high-end products, for instance, here he shows the infamous Birkin bag, is actually made in China. So we'll summarize a bit. This user claims that 80% of luxury handbags are made in China and that the finishing touches, for instance, labeling and packaging, is done in Europe. In addition to demonstrating the production of process, users like these also offer viewers advice on how to directly order from their factories with these type of links in order to avoid markups and reduce tariffs, urging American users to bypass the middlemen and to buy directly from their factories in China.
So are these handbags really made in China then, Catalina, like these manufacturers are claiming?
Well, Sharon, for the most part, the answer is no, at least when it comes to the major players in the luxury fashion industry, such as Hermes, with purses that, as they claim, can reach up to $38,000 or more. You'd actually expect labeling to be truthful. Hermes, according to their website, our objects are produced in France, mainly produced in France, across 60 different production sites, while the network, they say, is supplemented by 12 other manufacturers in other countries, including Switzerland, Italy, the UK, the US, Portugal and Australia, however, not China. Then let's take a look at Louis Vuitton, for instance, also targeted in the fake claims on TikTok, who say their leather goods are exclusively produced in their workshops located in France, Spain, Italy, and the US, not China. Also, while these videos on TikTok claim that luxury bags are made in China, that is very unlikely under the strict labeling regulations that exist in the US and the EU. To be labeled made in France, for instance, the product must have undergone its last substantial transformation in France, meaning that 45 to 50% of the unit cost price must be acquired in France. Experts cited by The Independent claim that these viral videos on TikTok are likely an effort of counterfeit manufacturers in China to take advantage of the tariff chaos to boost their sales. A very clever way to take advantage of the actual geopolitical situation to drive demand to their websites.
Finally then, Catalina, what has been the reaction overall to these videos?
Well, Sharon, these videos have sparked a global debate on TikTok and X as some users feel scammed by these allegations or alleged revelations online, rejoicing at the idea of paying less for luxury items. This user says, today I found that a Birkin bag costs about $1,300 to make instead of the $38,000. According to the fake claims, others say that they will never buy designer bags again after finding out about these Chinese manufacturers. They say not worth it.
Listen, at the end of the day, the cat is out of the bag, so to speak. China has unleashed its counterfeit market on the U.S. and the rest of the world. Because in the past, China used to have a pretty tight control, protecting people's intellectual property. But now they're pretty much saying, you know what, if this is the way the U.S. want to act with us, we're not holding back anything. Our counterfeit market is powerful. Because over here in Dubai, man, if you want a Birkin, if you want any of these type of bags, you can easily find it. You know what? In the past, you used to get a lot of these products out of Taiwan, out of Vietnam, out of Turkey, other countries that had pretty high quality. The Chinese quality wasn't known as the best. But today, the Chinese quality is up there with anything. To be fair with you, I'm not talking about luxury products, but everything else. I think I was telling you guys the last time I did something like this. There was a Dyson vacuum that I bought under a different name, but it was literally the identical of the freaking Dyson vacuum. It's insane for bloody 1/4 of the price. So we have to understand that China is the king of manufacturing, and they're fighting back not only against American products, but it seems like all Western products, man.
China is now taking the fight straight to the American consumer. It is weaponizing social media and recruiting Chinese suppliers to launch the attacks. Take a look at this.
Do you recognize this style? For the past more than 30 years, we have been the OEM factory for most of the luxury brands around the world. Gucci, Prada, Coach, Louis Vuitton, you name it. But for this, I am not proud because we were only making our wages. The profit margin for the people who are actually making the bags are very low. Now, as the USA and its little European brothers are trying to refuse Chinese goods, why don't you just contact us and buy from us? You won't believe the prices we give you.
The battlefield is TikTok. It is flooded with such factory videos. Chinese suppliers are reaching out to American customers directly. They have a simple message for them. Skip the middlemen, buy straight from China. And that too for cheap. At the same time, they're trying to embarrass Western brands, names like Lululemon, Nike, Fila, and Birkenstock. In one video, a woman is selling Lululemon leggings for $6. In the US, they retail for $100. Another video shows luxury handbags, again priced at a fraction of their retail cost. It features a so-called Birkin bag. The retail price is around $38,000, but this seller says it costs just $1,400 to make.
This Birkin bag at Hermes boutique will cost you 38,000 USD. But what is the real cost out of the factory? Today, I'm going to break it down in front of you step by step. First thing first, Hermes only use the leathers from the 3 top-level suppliers. One piece of Togo leather will cost 450 USD. The thread is also the best top level. For each bag, the cost is 25 USD. For one piece of bag, the hardware will cost 150 USD. Edge oil. For each bag, it will cost 50 USD. The interior lining for each bag, the cost will be 100 USD. And then the cost of human resource. To finish one bag, the human resource cost will be 600 USD. The total cost will be 1,400 USD for one Birkin out of factory. But why Hermes will charge you 38,000 USD for one bag? That's because more than 90% of the price is paid for its logo. But if you do not care about the logo, you just want the same quality, same material, you can just buy from us.
So same product from the same factory, made from the same materials, with just the brand logo missing. What's the point of these videos? They're trying to humiliate Western brands, to show the world that their products are made in China and to expose how much they overcharge their customers. Now, we cannot vouch for the accuracy of their claims. After all, they are coming from China. It is known for copying, so many of these products could just be knockoffs. And China is well known for that. And yet, this campaign has struck a chord. Even Chinese diplomats have jumped in. One of them took aim at Caroline Leavitt. She is the White House press secretary. She is being mocked for a dress that she wore. This Chinese diplomat says the dress was made in China. This is what he wrote on X. Accusing China is business, buying China is life. So the attacks are coming from all sides, not just on social media, but on American companies too. They are being punished for Trump's trade war. The latest victim is Boeing. Beijing has issued a diktat to all Chinese airplanes. Stop taking deliveries of Boeing planes. That's what China has told its airlines. Now, this is a setback for Boeing. China's aviation market is expanding rapidly. In the next 20 years, China will account for 20% of the global aircraft demand. Now, Boeing had managed to get a foothold. It had dozens of orders from Chinese airlines. Air China had ordered 45 Boeing planes. China Eastern Airlines, another 53 planes. And China Southern Airlines, 81 planes. These are China's top 3 airlines. Now, Boeing could be losing them as customers. China is also weaponizing supplies of rare earths. Their exports to the US have been suspended. There's a whole list of metals which have been banned, at least 6 of them.
Oh, man, this war is getting out of hand. But I don't want to focus on the trade war as much as the luxury market. I wanted to just highlight to you guys how much you've been ripped off and how you need to get your head out of this idea that you need to buy luxury. Because it's just a facade, my friends. It's just a myth. Invest your money in assets. Buy financial instruments, stocks, bonds, real estate, gold, crypto. Get into other investments. Please do not spend money on these stupid consumer products. Machines are making these better than humans. That's the bottom line. We can even program the machines to stitch like, cut like human beings. So no one knows what is luxury anymore. So if you want to spend your money on stupidness, by all means, go ahead. But my channel is here to educate you on how to get ahead, how to save money, how to invest money, and how to actually stop following the norm. Because mainstream does not have your interests in mind, my friends. It's all about how much money they can suck from you. And when I say they, corporations, because those are who run this world. So, my friends, listen, I'm going to end it there. Subscribe if you haven't already, my friends. Book a session with me if you have any questions at all. Hey, join the membership system this weekend, Saturday at 10 a.m. New York time. I'll be hosting a 2-hour session over on the private membership site. Okay? It's not going to be recorded. It's just for you and all the members to come together and have a conversation. All right? So if you're interested in just having a conversation with like-minded people for 2 hours, by all means, join us there on the membership system. The link is in the description. So my friends, until tomorrow, remember, whenever in doubt, always, always ask an older man. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.